Morning, gang. So, one piece of it, I don't know if it's advice or whatever. Who am I to give advice anyway? But one thing, if I can make a suggestion, would be to do not DFA Josh Donaldson for the Yankees. Why do I say that? People are like, what are you talking about? Well, let me finish. Don't DFA Donaldson. DFA Donaldson and two other players. Okay? If you want to get back on track, get this momentum back, continue to let the young kids develop and give other people opportunities. This is what I'm saying. I'm going to go with three players. If you're a baseball fan, make sure you subscribe to this channel because we talk about this stuff a lot. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about what if the White Sox go on a full teardown, who their players best fit to be traded to and stuff. So, and are the Yankees one of the fits for any of these players? And if you're a Yankee fan, don't leave without subscribing to this channel if you've done that. If you haven't done that yet, so I appreciate it either way. But let's talk about these guys, these three guys. Number one, Josh Donaldson. Just brought him up. The fact of the matter is, we're going to eat his money just like we're eating Hicks' money, regardless if they're not traded. Okay. They're traded, which they're not going to be, then the Yankees wouldn't have to worry about eating all their money. But we've got to eat 100% of their money. Josh Donaldson's got $25 million this year, and then he's got a $6 million buyout for 2024 or a $16 million option, which I highly doubt they're going to pick up. So they're going to eat whatever it is. So essentially, he'll make $31 million between this year and next year. That's it. And again, I've said this repeatedly too when it comes to like DFA guys, especially guys on big contracts, eat their money and just bring in a more productive player. You'll get better bang for your buck, period. And here you got Andres Chaparro and Oswald Peraza chomping at the bit, knocking at the door. They're good fits. They bring in energy. They've shown that they can produce. Like Chaparro, especially, is murdering the ball in AAA. And Peraza's already proved that at the major levels in AAA too. Two guys who can bring some youth and energy, great defense. Okay, particularly in Peraza, and some hunger. And we don't want the last thing we want to do is bring up Donaldson, and who's already had another setback with his hand, and have him disrupt the momentum that the Yankees have worked so hard to rebuild this past month. Their momentum sucked in April, but they're clicking on all cylinders now. And they're getting healthier too, which makes it going to be more dangerous. Last thing I want to do is disrupt it by bringing up Donaldson. So I don't know about you, if you guys and gals agree, but it doesn't matter if you agree or not. Just let me know in the comments. Okay. Now let's pivot to the second player. Okay. Albert Abreu. Again, big arm, no doubt about it, but he's wildly inconsistent. Okay. Too often has he had the problem of having a dominant outing or two, killing it, and then falling back to earth and then having a bad outing for like the next 5 outings. And when he'll get into this position where he hits guys, gives up hits, walks guys, and then loads up the bases all of a sudden. And then even if he's coming in relief or whatnot, when he does, which he usually does, and then what does he have to do? You have to start throwing strikes with the bases loaded and no out, and then he throws a meatball down the middle. 2-run double, grand slam, whatever it is. This happens far too often with Albert Abreu. But the fact is, too, he's probably the only tradable player of these three because he's young and he's on the cheap. I could see a team like Tampa or Houston do something to remake this kid and make him productive. But again, it's just not working anymore with the Yankees. So if I'm them, I'm DFAing him and or trading him. So, and lastly, this is more of a fit now too. It's Frankie Montas. The fact is, too, he's not going to be back or predicted back until mid-August, if we're lucky, early September. Okay, trade deadline's August 1st. So he's not even going to have enough time to build any type of trade value. That's off the board. That's off the books, right? Or off the table. Now he's not even going to have enough time to maybe even build up not trade value, but value to the team itself. We got the starting rotation is going to be Cole, Severino. You have Rodon, Frankie, not Frankie, Nestor Cortes, and then Domingo Germán. He didn't even have not even enough time to build up any value for a starting rotation spot. There's no room for him anymore. So, and again, even in terms of bullpen, I'd rather call up a guy like Matt Crook or Will Warren, stuff like that. And you got 3 guys here. Josh Johnson can be replaced by Chaparro or Peraza, and then you have Will Warren or Clayton Beer if he makes it that far, but Will Warren and more specifically, and a guy like Matt Crook who could replace these 2 guys credibly. And there's some other arms there that they brought in recently. Some off the market signings that they've over the last couple of weeks. They brought in more bullpen pieces. So and you have Tommy Kahnle coming back too in a week. So they could be easily replaced. And Frankie Montas again, there's not enough time for Montas. We don't have to keep calling the trade a bust. We already know that. Okay, it's a waste of time to keep beating that same drum. It's a bust for Oakland too. It's a loss for both teams. End of story. Okay, moving on. But again, these 3 guys, I think if the Yankees DFA them, will be able to replace them with better fits and more production in the lineup. And again, and mostly youth. Okay, and depending on what they do at the trade deadline too. Would I love to see them bring in a very, very good reliever for the trade deadline? Sure. So these types of moves open up the spot for them to do that, as well as calling up youth. So that gives them more flexibility too. You eat the money. You're going to eat Montez contract anyway. He's not going to be traded. Okay, you're going to eat if you eat. If you trade Abreu's on the cheap anyway, not going to really cost them anything, and you're eating Donaldson's contract, so you might as well get better bang for your buck. So to me, I would DFA all three of those guys rather than DFAing Donaldson himself. Now, if they just DFA Donaldson, would I be angry? No. Okay. It makes more sense at this point for them to part ways. Okay. And I wish him well, just like I wish Hicks well, and I'm sure he'll be picked up somewhere and whatnot. But even though he's older, he's 37. He's kind of a shell of himself, but it's time for the Yankees to move on and give some of these young players a shot. And if they don't work out, you got the trade down. You got $70 million coming off the books this offseason. You can make moves. So just my take on it. Let me know what you think. Be sure to load up the comments. And I'll be back later with the lineup for a game against the Baltimore Orioles. They are at home playing against the Orioles now. Let's go Yankees.